Hi, and a very warm welcome to Business Strategy BUS441. This is the summer online edition, and I'm going to be taking you through the Getting Started video to give you an idea of how this course is going to work and what the best strategies are for doing well in this course. The first area I always suggest you review is announcements. So the first announcement I post, and by the way, every time I post an announcement, I also email it to all the students. So make sure you check your stonybrook.edu email, or at least have those emails forwarded to an account you do check on a regular basis. The first announcement deals with getting started for this course. And in this first announcement, I give you the link to this video which you're currently watching that goes over the course. And a lot of times students will ask a question about the class. Class doesn't officially start until summer 2, but you can begin working on it as early as you like. Fine with that. Especially since I don't accept any late assignments. So if you are going to experience any travel or work-related events or family events, or you're just the type of person where things seem to happen to you last minute when your homework is due, make sure you schedule to do your homework early, so that way if something does happen, you'll have a day or two to finish it, because I will not accept any late assignments, especially during the summer session. So just keep that a warning in mind. Okay, the next announcement is how to buy the textbook. So the textbook, we're using the current and 14th edition of the textbook. You can find this online at the Amazon bookstore, and you can also buy the Homework Manager packaged with the textbook for around $99. So I left a link here, and if you take this link and you put it into your browser, it's going to bring you over to Pearson, where you can put in the course ID, and the course ID for the class is right here. So just copy this course ID and put that in here. You may already have a Pearson account, or maybe don't have a Pearson account. Then you need to log in, and then when you go to the next level, they'll ask you to pay for it. But what you're going to get is the textbook and the Homework Manager packaged together for $99, which is a decent deal. Otherwise, you can buy a used book and buy the Homework Manager separately, or buy a new textbook, and it should come with an access card for the Homework Manager. But that's only for new textbooks from the Amazon bookstore. It's a special package. Okay. Now, the Homework Manager. When you sign up for the Homework Manager, you want to go to this site, pearsonlabandmastering.com, and it's going to look something like this. And you're going to click on register. If you don't already have an account, if you have an account, you can sign in. For example, if you use Pearson with another course, like my BUS441 course uses the same Pearson, you may already have a login account. If not, you can register as a student, and then you could just register for the class by entering in, again, my class code and continuing, and then they'll ask you to create an account or use an existing account. Okay, so review your textbook options as far as what you want to do. You know how you want to procure the textbook, and how you're going to also secure the Homework Manager. The important thing for the Homework Manager is that you have this course ID to link you to my particular section of the Homework Manager. Okay. Now, the next announcement I have is the Welcome to Week 1 announcement, where I basically each week I'll set up this announcement where I welcome you to the class, and then I will tell you what chapters you should be reading. I give you a to-do list of lectures you should be watching that I've pre-recorded, and just remind you need to participate in the discussion board and complete the homework in the Homework Manager, for each week, just to kind of keep you on track. And I've also put together a due date list. So for all the due dates of the homework, this is specifically the Homework Manager due dates from July 14th all the way to August 18th. There's a number of quizzes and homeworks that you need to complete. And again, you may start working on the homework as early as you like. However, just keep in mind, I will not accept any late assignments, so it's a better idea to start working on it earlier than later. Okay, so those would be the announcements I have set up so far. Um, where you should go from here. When you're first starting the course, of course, every time you come to the course, just to see if I post any new announcements. Um, but the first time you're starting the course, you want to come into Documents, and you want to read over the syllabus. Now, read over the syllabus in its entirety. It explains the course. This is an asynchronous course, meaning that we're not meeting together in an online chat room or online video or Google Hangout or Skype, where this class is completely, you figure out the best times for you to get your work done. There are due dates, so you have to complete it before the due date, but you can work from anywhere in the world. We're not meeting physically at any point in this class. It's a completely online class. And in the syllabus, I continue to go on to talk about the course description and describe what the course is about, what our learning goals are, how we're going to accomplish our learning goals. And remember, this video is just to get you started. I expect you to go back and read the syllabus completely, so I'm not going to read the syllabus to you during this video. It would just take too long. Class time is going to be made up of covering the textbook material, discussion of the case studies and current events, and with the use of discussion boards, and video lectures as our class environment. I already went over the textbook and included the instructions for the homework manager, or to purchase a package of the textbook and homework manager together for $99. And assignments will be posted on Blackboard and the homework manager, which is the Pearson lab and mastering.com. So no late assignments will be accepted. Please, if you send me an email about trying to submit something late or asking permission for a late assignment, I will either return the email back with just saying no, or not even returning the email, because I've expressed it so many times that there's no late assignments accepted. So what to do about that? If you're again, like I said before, if you're the type of person who is constantly running late, constantly trying to submit their assignments late, just pretend like the due dates are due 2 days earlier. So that way, if you miss it, you'll be able to still submit it, because just like setting your alarm clock 10 minutes early in the morning so you're not late for the bus. Okay, the grades. So the chapter homeworks are 40% of the grade, or 320 points. So each chapter has a set of homeworks from my finance lab. And the quizzes are 45% of the grade, and each chapter has a quiz on on the homework manager website. Sometimes I may refer to the homework manager as my finance lab, because that's what I use mostly for my finance courses. But it's the same site, my finance lab, Pearson lab and mastering, my management lab. They're all the same website. They're just different names. Every time I mention any of those websites, I'm talking about the homework manager, not anything different or separate, just the one homework manager. Okay, the class case discussions are 15% of the grade, or 120 points. Altogether, these three categories will add up to 800 points. So if you divide your points by 8, you'll be able to convert them to a letter score using this scale here. Also, I will, by the end of the class, I will import all the grades to the homework manager, so you'll get a weighted average, so you won't have to, you'll just see a weighted average percentage that you can convert to grade over your final grade over here. So at the end of the class, I'll move over the any grading elements from the Blackboard onto the homework manager, so you could review everything there. Okay. And participation is going to be through the class discussion questions. So I'm going to use the Blackboard discussion boards to do the class discussion questions, and I want each student to participate at a high level in that environment. I'm going to talk about that more in a few minutes. Okay, so the class schedule, we have 6 weeks, and we're covering the first week we're covering chapters 1 and 2, and I also want you to read chapter 12, because it's a chapter that starts to talk about how to do a case study and the best way to do a case study, because we have our class discussions are sort of like our case studies. Then week 2, chapters 3 and 4, week 3, chapters 5 and 6, week 4, chapters 7 and 8, week 5, chapters 9 and 10, and week 6 will be chapter 11. Okay. So that's the basics of the syllabus. If you go back to Documents, I also have all the PowerPoint lectures backed up here on Documents, and I also have the video lectures are going to be housed by YouTube. So if you want to view all the videos, you could just highlight this here and cut and paste that into your browser, and that'll bring you to my YouTube channel where you can subscribe, and there'll be a whole playlist of all the videos for this course. Also, I will be in announcements posting for each week. I will give you a, like I was explaining before, I'll give you an announcement each week, welcoming you to the week, and I'll also be listing the lectures to be watching and the videos to be watching that week additionally. Okay. So let's just go back to documents. I'm just going to make sure this link is still working. Okay, yeah, the link works. So when you come into my page, I have it set to go right to the playlist for the class. You could subscribe here, and just in case you can't find the playlist, if it doesn't pop up, you want to look for BUS 440 strategy BUS 441, and all 14 videos are in this playlist, and the videos are over here where you'll see a list of all the videos that I have already posted for the chapters of the course that you can review here. Okay, so let's go back to Blackboard. All right, and go to assignments. So under assignments, I've just posted that your two big assignments here are the discussion boards and the homework manager. So this has already been posted on announcements and in the syllabus. So I just reposted it here. So in case you come to announcements, you're not gonna have to really visit assignments too often. Just as a review of what is due. So if you go to discussions, this is a big assignment area, is discussions. So each week we are going to have multiple discussion boards. So for week 1, we have restaurants. So there's read the case first. So I put the PDF link to the case. So you would click on that, and the case will open up in form of a PDF. And I have the questions in there, some of the questions in there as well. And then as you scroll down, this will be the information I have based on the article, which is a starting point to read. And then I have the questions also in here. So when you go to you read over the PDF. Once you're done reading the PDF, you look at these questions and you're going to want to answer them. So you just click on the forum here. It brings you, see there's no thread. So you want to create a thread, and you want to say, put your name in there, and then you could say, hey, just give me a little description of what we're doing. We're doing this is the restaurant case, and then it doesn't hurt to take the questions and just pull them down here to the text box. If you pull this little tab down here, you can expand the text box to work in here, and then you can so for each question you want to post somewhere between a 50 to 100 word answer. So you can just, under each question, you can just type up your response. And you can do this, you could also do this in, let's see, you can also do this in Word if you want, and then copy and paste it back over here. So for each, and sometimes the questions could have multiple parts, so you just want to put your answer after each question. And of course, I'm just writing 50 to 100 word answer here, just to kind of get you for the feel. And this, so if you want to use a word processor, you can go use a word processor, then you can cut and paste your information here in this text box. That way it could correct any spelling, or so you don't have to type everything out directly here. But there's also a spell check in here as well. So it's whatever you're comfortable with. And after you answer the question, you just go to submit, and you'll see now the thread has been created. So the next student comes along, we'll click on create thread, and they'll do the same thing. So this could be maybe Jane Doe, and she's also answering restaurants. And she puts her answers in and clicks submit. So now you'll see there are 2 students here, and then you would create, so as a new student coming in, you would create a new thread and put your answers in. But you would also go back and read the previous students' posts, and you would rate this, and you can even reply to the student, "Hi Jane, I don't see much of any answers. Sure you posted correctly?" And then you can just submit your response, and that's how you create a response. So you can see it's very easy to create a thread, enter in your answers, or respond to other students' answers as well. And by now you should have used discussion boards in another class. This shouldn't be brand new to you any longer. So for week one, at the bottom here we have the due date. So July 15th for restaurants, but also for July 15th is Whole Foods. So this week usually each week we have 2 discussion boards for you to post within. In week 2 we have Uber part 1 and part 2. And then we move into Hollywood and China's influence on Hollywood in week 3. And you'll see that each week there's an end date for when you need to have your discussion boards posted. Now keep in mind that I want you to post your original answers on Monday or Tuesday, and then your replies sort of Wednesday through Saturday. And the reason for that is because you want to be fair to the other students, so you want to post your original responses early so students can read them early and reply to them. It's not fair, or you're not participating if you post everything on the last day of the discussion board. Your original answers and your replies, that's not really being part of the discussion. That's sort of like coming into the class at the last 5 minutes of class to do your participation, or coming into your group presentation and the last 30 seconds standing up in the class, running over to your group and doing your presentation in the last 30 seconds of the presentation. You aren't fully participating if you submit your stuff at the last minute. So I think this is pretty self-explanatory. These cases are all new and fresh and fun and current and topical, so I think you'll find them interesting to think about and work on. Now, if you have any questions for the class, you can click on Class Questions, and in here, you can click on Subscribe. So that way, and you can do that for any of the forums, any new posts that will be created in here, you'll get a copy of. So if you create a thread and say, when is the due? Or maybe you'll say, yeah, when is the homework due? So you put your question in. So this is just the subject, so you can put your question. When is the homework due? Can I start the classwork and homework early? Okay. So you submit that, and then I would come in and I'd say, okay, this is a question here for me. I'd click on that, and this is something that can help everybody in the class. So that's why you post your questions to the class question discussion board. Unless it's of a personal or nature or of a individual grading nature, then you should send me an email directly. But if it's something the whole class could benefit from, then I could kind of answer the question here. And also, before you ask the question, someone already may have asked the question and been responded to in the discussion board. So that's why you want to check the discussion board before you create your question to make sure someone else hasn't already done that. So I would say my response to this would be check announcements. All due dates are listed for the homework manager, and check And then yes, you can start the class work as early as you like, even before the class officially has started. Okay. So you may be, because you'll see this Blackboard will be posted, will be up before. So there you go, student question and an answer. So now these forums stay here. So you create a new thread. I'm sorry, these threads stay here, and you create a new thread every time you want to ask a new question. Don't ask your question inside an old thread, because the new thread is what's going to be a call to action. And yeah, some students, you might see this Blackboard up in May or June, and you say, okay, the class doesn't start until July, but I have some time now. Yeah, you go in, get started. You can start answering some discussion questions. You can start working in the homework manager. That's totally fine. I'm fine with people working earlier ahead. I'm just not cool with people submitting anything late. And you won't be able to submit anything late because all the links will close up on the homework manager discussion board before you can submit anything late. Okay, so that's the discussion board. Now, so that's everything pretty much in the Blackboard. Let's go over to the homework manager and let's look at the course inside the homework manager. So your homework manager will, let's just go back. Sorry, I want to get the student view. Your homework manager it'll look a little bit different. I have the instructor site here, but you will go click on assignments. This is where you'll see your assignments, and the first one's very important. It's getting started with My Finance Lab, and this assignment gives you an idea, a walkthrough of how My Management Lab works. There I am doing it again. It's the homework manager. So the getting started with My Management Lab, and you click here, and you'll be able to go over the basics of how this site works. And it's very important. This doesn't take long to do this, and it's very important to kind of get started with this and go over just the basics. Okay. Then you start with Chapter 1 warm-up is the next exercise. And you have a number of questions in here that will be from Chapter 1. So you should really read Chapter 1 first, and then you can kind of go over each question. So, all right. So let me just see here. Okay, so you should you can actually check your answers, and if you don't get it right, it gives you a second try, and if you don't get it right, you get a third try, and that's the final check. So then you go to the next question. So I give you multiple attempts to get these warm-up questions correct, and there's also question help here where there's really not much help for these multiple choice questions. So this warm-up is really just a quick review of the chapter. And then you will have various video exercises. So here's a chapter where you click on the first question, and you're going to want to click on the video first and watch the video. So here is the video. You press play, and it'll put like a little video will come up. Close that. So after you watch the video, then you could start answering the questions on that video. And again, you can check your answer, and if you get your answer wrong, you get one try on this, not three. So you can check your answers on each, which is a nice little sort of a little help to make sure you get the best score possible on these exercises. So let me leave that. So let's, and then also for week 1 we have the simulation. Now the simulations are some of the harder homework problems, and you may not, get a full score. So this one is reading it to me. All right. So okay, so that's a basic preview of the simulation. Now the simulations are some of the more difficult homeworks, and I'm not really expecting everyone to get 100 on this. In fact, many people will score lower than 100, maybe even, depending on, if you've read the textbook, you'll have a better idea what to do in the simulations. If you start to work on the simulation without reading the textbook chapter, you're not going to do well. So the simulation is a little bit more trickier than the warm-up exercises. So it sort of gets easy to harder and harder. And then finally for chapter 1 you'll have a quiz. So on the quiz, when you take the quiz and you start the test, the you're going to have the quiz is probably a little bit harder because you can't do a you don't get a feedback whether or not you got the answer right or wrong as you move between questions. So you just complete the 25 questions of the quiz and you have one attempt, and then at the end of the quiz you will get a score, and at the end of the due date for the quiz you will be able to go back in and see what you got right and wrong, but only until after everyone has completed the quiz and the due date has passed. So that would be the quiz section. So those are the basic types of homeworks you'll get in the homework manager for each chapter. Remember, we're doing multiple chapters per week, so in week 1 we're also doing the warm-up for chapter 2, a video exercise for chapter 2, and a quiz. So it kind of works that progression. All these assignments are in order of due date all the way to the end. Now, chapter 12 is something I want you to look at and read it in week 1, but we're not really even doing the quiz or going to be tested on chapter 1 till the end of the class. Okay, so these would be your assignments. You could also click on the assignments. Everything's listed here on assignments. If you click on take a quiz test, all the quizzes will be just the quizzes with none of the homework assignments if you just want to see them by themselves. But if you click on assignments, all the assignments will be listed together here. So it's just how you want to click on it. And also, if you've purchased the e-textbook with the homework manager, you'll get access to the Pearson e-text as well, where you could go in and, if you're comfortable with reading online, the e-text will be here within the homework manager for you to work with and review. And it would look like this. This is the first page. This is the actual textbook. 14th edition is what we're working with. Okay, so that's basically the only areas we're going to be working in here would be the assignments and the e-text on the homework manager. And let's go back to the announcements. Okay, so that is my 30-minute or less getting started video for BUS441 Strategic Management. And just remember to keep a simple flow. Every week on Monday and Tuesday, you're going to come in, read over, see if there's any new announcements. You're going to go right to the discussion boards and complete the discussion boards for your original posts for the week. And then later on in the week, you'll come back and read any replies or reply to other students on your discussion boards. You're going to go into the homework manager and complete the homeworks and quizzes for that week. And remember that under announcements, I do have listed all the due dates for the homeworks on my finance lab. My management lab. If you want to look over and get an idea of when things are due, just even print this out, make a checklist out of it, and just cross them off as you complete them. And each week, look for my welcoming message for the week, where I list all the video lectures and just a synopsis of what you should be working on that week. Okay, so that's the course in a nutshell. I wish you the best of luck with the course, and I'll be talking to you soon. Thank you.